Hello, and thank you for listening to another podcast of the Gospel Rescue Mission. Today we are going to do a resident interview with my good friend James Franklin. James Franklin has been a resident here now for almost 2 months, and I was earlier today was able to do a little interview with him, and I just thought, he's one of these guys that God's doing good things in his life, and there's something really neat about testimonies, just to hear what's going on from the horse's mouth, to kind of hear from him what's happening and all the good things that God's doing in his life here as a resident at the Gospel Rescue Mission. So I hope you enjoy this, listen in, and share it with your friends. First of all, James, I've known you for probably a couple of years with your work at the Rock Food Pantry, right?
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about your kind of what led you to coming to the Rock Food Pantry.
I would think one of the reasons why I came to the Rock Food Pantry is because I was living on a mountain. It was my lifestyle. Okay. I made it a habit.
How long did you live like that?
I was up on the Granite Hill for about 2.5 seasons.
Okay.
And then I realized through the times that I was coming up and down that I started getting stage 2 athlete's foot from walking up and down the granite and up and down the tracks, and I couldn't do it anymore.
Okay.
So I just took it upon myself to allegedly just jump the Rock Food Pantry fence.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I would sleep underneath the awning, right there, back to where you guys keep all the boxes.
Okay. Okay.
I got, like, the back door would be unlocked for me, so I'd get in, use the bathroom, stuff like that. But most of it, I slept outside. I just didn't want to be up on the mountain no more, so I just came off the mountain.
So it was really hard living up on the mountain, and then you'd come into town, and you're familiar with the folks at the Rock. You get food there, so you know something about them. So you know, when everybody's gone home, you just hop the fence at night, go in there, and sleep under the awning. Pretty soon the staff kind of know you're there, so they start kind of leaving the door open for you a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. And at some point in time, it became more of a, hey, why don't we just move you inside the building, right?
Yeah, in a sense. That's not quite what I was looking for. I like coming down there every day to get me off the hill. I like to keep myself busy, so I just walked in there one day when Matt was working there and says, hey, I want to volunteer. So I started going with him to the food bank on the truck and watched him on the forklift, and he kind of inspired me on the forklift, and that's where I got the knowledge of, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. So yeah, I just kind of tucked underneath his wing, and that's where I stayed.
Wow. So that's been like maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
It's been about 4.5 years now.
Okay, yeah. And so I got asked in December to take over the Rock Food Pantry as the director there, in addition to what I'm doing here at the Gospel Rescue Mission. And I come over there and I realize I've got 2 guys living on this property. One of them happens to be you. One of the things that I was surprised by. I knew there was a little bit of fear and anticipation about, what it was going to mean for a guy from the mission to be over here. What does it mean for what happens at the mission? I knew a lot of people didn't know. So one of the things I thought I'd do right away was just ask you guys if you wanted to take a tour of the mission to see what it looked like on the inside, to see, kind of walk you through how our process works. Do you remember that day?
Oh yes,
yeah.
I sure do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was inspired by it. It's like, at first I was kind of like, man, I don't want to live like this. I'm watching all these guys walk in and out of the mission, and it's like they don't have no freedom. They're under all these rules and guidelines, and I'm like, no, that's not for me. And
yeah, we get that a lot. I hear that a lot from people who don't live at the mission. They're not sure, what it's all about. They're not sure about the rules and guidelines. And really, it sounds like for them, it sounds like a letting go of freedom to come under all those rules. I remember after we had taken all the staff and volunteers from the Rock over to the mission, most of them, in fact, every one of them that I knew of, it was their very first time walking through the Gospel Rescue Mission in all their time. Some of those folks had been working and volunteering with the mission with the Rock, for well over 10 years. And to have them coming into the Gospel Rescue Mission, which is, we share a parking lot basically, a piece of property. This was their very first time walking in. I was really concerned. I didn't want to scare anybody, but I was a little concerned when we got back, because I see you sitting off to the side, and you're just you look a little, head deep in thought. Do you remember? I was like, "Are you okay?" And you said, "Yeah, I got a lot to think about." What was going through your mind at that moment?
Me, I was just like really transized. I mean, it's like I walked into this building and I actually got to see what you guys do in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing that I even expected.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was like a jail. I mean, you go in, you got to sit in this room, and you got to go listen to a guy in church, and then you got to go upstairs, and you can't go outside, and it gave me a fear of like, am I gonna lose my whole entire life? You know?
Yeah.
And after you took us through the tour and started explaining it to us about how it worked, and I was just like, I started to relax a little bit. And I remember you were like, you just let me know when you're ready, James. And, when you approached me that day at work and you're like, "Hey, are you ready to move to the mission?" I was drunk. I mean, I was at my best friend's house, man, and you looked straight at me in the eyes, and I'm just like, "Let's do this."
Yeah.
And it took me a couple days to really get relaxed and get to know what it was like. But when I walked around, I'm like, "Hey, these guys ain't so bad, man. They actually accepted me and took me underneath their wing and showed me,
Yeah.
It felt good,
Yeah, it's kind of nice, huh? It's funny because we, maybe kind of breezed past this a little bit more of kind of your past coming in. I mean, you came in with quite a bit of alcohol in your system just the day we came in over here. I remember asking you, how much were you drinking on a daily basis before coming into the mission?
I was drinking between, I don't know, I like to drink about an 18 pack.
Yeah.
And if I don't drink an 18, I like to drink between 8 to 10 of the 24 ounces.
Sure.
I didn't drink to like have a social time. I drank to get drunk.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I could put myself to sleep at nighttime. I I couldn't be conscious. I had to either be smoking a bunch of weed and a bunch of alcohol. It was for me to stuff my feelings.
Yeah.
And when you approached me, you're like, "Do you really want to give this a chance?" And I'm like, "I'm ready,
Yeah.
I can't do it out there no more." And it's like, I think about it now, 3.5 seasons out there of walking around in sandals in the snow, walking up and down railroad tracks with just a pair of pants and a t-shirt. Always having to build a fire, walking into town 3 times a day for your meals, walking around town looking for cigarette butts on the side of the road, trying to find people who got alcohol, people who've got a joint to smoke. That became custom to me, and it got to the point where it was natural.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I got to know certain people and I knew where I could get it,
Yeah.
And it didn't matter whether it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I just get the urge, take off, walk into town. It was about 3.5 miles. I would do it 4 or 5 times a day.
Wow.
Just so I'd come in and get a fix, and then I'd stagger home. I'd fall down on the railroad tracks, I got scars on my head. I've got scars on my legs. I've cut my arms open.
Wow.
It's like, it's just what I made a trend of, you know. And being an addict is an addict. It'll never go away.
Yeah.
You know, once you're an addict, you're an addict.
Yeah.
You can only change that by not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you've seen me times where I've come into the Rock when you weren't the director.
Yeah.
And you'd see how obliviated I was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but that never stopped me from being a worker and never kept me from doing what I needed to do, you know.
Yeah.
My mind was always in that mode, but it was being suffocated.
Yeah.
You know, and being in here 2 months, I've gotten clarity, I've gotten insight. I'm learning how to understand what a God is. It's, to me, in some ways, doing chapel every day, I would rather do a chapel on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
Because I got a learning disability, so it makes it kind of hard to stay afloat with all the chapels.
Sure.
I mean, because it's like I could read a Bible, but to understand what it means, no.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to sit down with a person and say, "Hey, James, can you read a verse out of the book of James for me?" And then they can ask me, "Hey, can you kind of explain what it means?" Then I can do that.
Yeah.
But being in a room full of like 30 guys,
Yeah.
it makes me nervous.
Sure.
I mean, I don't mind sitting there and listening to like you and John and them guys.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to stay at a focus point because I can't grasp it. I mean, I'm used to being one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like being in grade school and high school.
Sure.
I mean, I've been in special ed my whole entire life.
Sure.
14 years of high school. I walked out with 3.9, but that's because I was in special ed my whole entire 14 years.
Okay.
Being around people, I can learn, but sometimes I just got to back off, you know, and be kind of non-sociable.
Yeah.
Because then it gives me time to actually think and focus.
Yeah.
I mean, if you understand what I mean.
I totally understand. Yeah.
You've been there. You've told me some of your stories. I gain from that.
Yeah.
It gives me knowledge. It gives me empowerment. It helps me to focus.
Well, that's one of the reasons why, you know, we try and do both. We try and do, you know, classroom type study, but we also try and just spend time walking with each of the guys one-on-one, you know, and work with them one-on-one along the way. That's one of the reasons why I've enjoyed keeping you close so much. I mean, you and I have just really developed a good bond together, and I know that all the rest of staff that's gotten a chance to work with you, whether it's Glenn or John or Ken, you know, all of them, they're very, you know, they really enjoy spending time with you, and because you're a sponge, man. I mean, you take up information really well. You know, certainly you want to learn. You're receptive to what's being said. I know we've already had many times along the way where you've come. You know, started the meeting frustrated and walked away from the meeting going, you know, relaxed and everything, because we were able to just kind of put perspective on things and help you kind of process what was the change that was about to happen in your situation. And here we are in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak here, you know, all in the mission and the Rock and all that. And boy, talk about change. We're all facing some crazy. You know, life is changing for everybody right now, and so what a time to be in a place where it's safe and where, you know, we make sure that everybody's cared for and all of that. You're going on your second month here. You know, you got to be midway through at least your second month here at the mission. So how many days sober is that so far for you?
I'm counting almost 51 days sober. I got moved to the stage 2 dorm, 60-day dorm. It was kind of a stress moment, you know, first night in there.
Sure.
I got yelled at because I like to talk in my sleep, and I woke up some of the workers. I apologize for sleeping and talking in my sleep, gentlemen, but You know,
You're asleep. You can't
I'm
help
asleep.
it.
I can't help it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's, getting people don't understand a lot of times the dynamic, the challenge of getting 60 guys together in one building and help them all live together patiently and graciously with one another. It's a huge challenge, and so every person that tells us they want to come into the Gospel Rescue Mission, or they have somebody that they want to come into the Gospel Rescue Mission, we have to kind of go, wait a minute. They're going to be moving into the house where 50 other people live, 60 other people live, and that's, we have all of them to take into consideration as we're bringing this person in, because it's just, even on our best days, it's challenging, isn't it?
Oh, it's a challenge every day, you know. Just having the priorities of being able to go in and out of the doors, signing in and out. That's a big thing for me. I mean, I'm used to just walking in a door and
Come
walking
and
out
go as you please,
and go as I please and do what I do and act like I act.
Yeah.
Walking in here and being in here 60 days almost, I've gained a lot.
Yeah.
You know. I'm not here to be a brown noser or like be under everyone, the big wigs' wings, you know. But I like being around my elders, you know. My elders are like my captains, you know. I gain from them. They show me, they like, hey, don't worry about it, we got you, you know. I never had that, you know. It's like, it's a privilege for me to have somebody who gives me that enlightenment, you know. Hey, James, keep up the great work, man.
Yeah.
Like the director here, his name's Brian Boteller. I give the guy a lot of gratitude, a lot of respect, a lot of diligence. He saved my butt. He's caught me in wrongful times, and I'm very grateful that he gave me that opportunity, you know. He could have just says, hey, sorry, man, you're out of here, bro. And I'm just like, it scared me because I knew I was in the wrong. When I turned around, I'm like, yeah, and he's standing right there, and I'm just like, I'm in deep doo-doo, bro.
I've heard of this Brian Boteller guy. Yeah, he's kind of crazy, huh?
Well, I wouldn't call him crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
look, brother. I mean, the good news about having you here. I mean, and this is the thing. Everybody, they hear only these kind of half-truth stories about the mission and how it works a lot of times, and they think that we're just so rules bound that we're gonna kick everybody out whenever they make a mistake and everything. And the last thing we ever want to do is see somebody go back out to the streets. I mean, sometimes that's necessary, but we're always trying to find ways to keep people here. To help them do well. I know you're going to do better here, and I got a better shot at working in your life if you're in these, within these four walls of this building, than if you're out there on the streets and everything. Hey, so, how long's it been in your life since you've had over 50 days sober? How long would you say was the last time you had over 50 days of sobriety consecutively in your system? It's been
a lot of years.
Yeah? More than 10?
More than 10.
More than 20?
Pretty close to 20 years.
Yeah.
I've always had an addictive personality. It's like, if I'm not doing it, I'm not doing anything right.
Right.
And it's like, now that I'm getting the opportunity to see what I am like sober, it scares me.
Yeah.
My energy levels are off the hook.
Yeah.
Before, I had no use to even try and challenge it,
Yeah.
Now it's like, I like being woke up in the mornings. I like the rules. I like the guidelines. I like the fact that I can be clean. I get my laundry done. I remember times washing it in the creeks up on the mountain. It's like, hey man, you got to do your laundry somehow.
Yeah,
But
I remember the right after the first week of you staying over at the here at the mission, and we were over talking at the Rock, and you said, I said, well, how you doing? And you said, you know what I like best about it over there? And I said, well, is it 3 meals a day? And he goes, well, yeah, it's good, but it's not that. And I said, well, is it I don't remember what my next one was. Oh, it was the laundry thing. And you said, yeah, no, that's good too, but it's not that. I said, what is it? And you said, I can shower. I can take a hot shower twice a day if I want to. You say, I can go in and shower every single day, and just how good it feels to have a hot shower. And of course, all the folks that volunteer over at the Rock, they've not seen any change in you at all, right? They've all been just like, no, everything's the same, huh?
Yep.
No. I listen to those ladies gush about you. What do they say?
They admire me. They love my character. They like my outgoingness.
Yeah.
They like the fact that they have somebody they can depend on.
Yeah.
Somebody to put a smile on their face, or to wake up, come in there and be kind of grumpy. Now,
I watch those girls go, man, you look so good, James. You look so good. Since you've been over there at the mission, you just look healthy and you look good. And they're so happy to see that in you. You don't have that yellow around the whites of your eyes anymore. You're just looking good, man, and you're healthy. You're filled out. You're clean. You look happy. You look good. It's never always easy, to live at a place where there's lots of other people. But that's true in any family. That's true in any job. Days aren't always easy. It shouldn't be something we expect. What you have here is people that are willing to help you along the way. And when you're having a hard day, you've got folks that you can talk to that can kind of encourage you on through the day. And my hope is that's been your experience here.
My experience here has been grateful. Without you being there to say, hey, why don't you give it a chance?
Yeah.
I don't think I would have ever done it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because I don't know if John could have done it. When you went back and you're like, when me and you first met, we made a bond. At first I didn't like you, I'm like, I don't like this guy. And then I got to know you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful I got to know you. You've done a lot for me, and I thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's my absolute pleasure. That's the kind of thing, that's the reason that, and I can't thank the people that donate to the Gospel Rescue Mission and places like the Rock Food Pantry and things enough, because I feel like my job is to just love people with the love that they afford me to do every day. Me and my staff and the people that I work with here, the volunteers and everybody, we get to love people with that love that the Lord gives us. We get to do that every day. We're paid to do it. It's like being the guy that delivers the lottery check or something. I feel like I get to dance and celebrate with everybody, and the lady at the front door gives me a hug and kisses my face as if I wrote the check. And the fact is that I didn't write the check. It's people that donate to a place like this that write the check and afford us to be able to do these things. And for me, it's such a privilege to be a part of that. The cool thing is when I get to watch guys like yourself who come in, who have been maybe had a real negative view of either me or the mission or the whatever. They've got a negative view of the organization. They get to know us. They get to stay with us. They get to receive the benefits. Suddenly, their skepticism turns to joy, man. You start to see their life start to turn around and change. And pretty soon, they start giving the same thing back. So pretty soon now you're encouraging other guys who are having a hard time staying, and then you recognize yourself in the new guy coming in the door. And you go, hey, brother, you know what? I know where you're at right now, and I know how you feel right now. And I'm just going to tell you, if you just stick with me for the next week, I'll get you through that first week, because the first week's pretty rough. But after that, it's going to be okay, and it's worth it. It's worth the stay here. And I get to see guys like you, and all guys and gals on both sides of this organization get to step in and become those mentors and become the conduits of that same love to the next group of people coming in through the door. And it's all we all work together to make everybody succeed in this place, and that's a pretty cool thing. Let's see. So since you have been at the Gospel Rescue Mission, you have gotten Oregon Health Plan. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Which has been free to you, available to you for as long as Oregon Health Plan's been available, but you didn't get it until you came here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saying SNAP benefits,
Right.
right? Did we get have you gotten your Social Security? Or
No, I haven't got my Social Security card yet.
you haven't gotten the Social Security card yet. We're still going to work on that. Driver's license?
We're working on that too.
We're working on that right now too.
Dude, child support and all that.
That's fantastic. So here we've got this, we're in the beginnings, still the beginning stages of just some pretty dramatic change in your life, man. But it's all this positive stuff that's happened because you took a chance on some big-eared fella named Brian who comes over and invites you to come over to the Gospel Rescue Mission. And by golly, it wasn't as bad as you had thought. Let me ask you this. If there was somebody who is just listening in on our conversation right now, if there was somebody that might be sitting out there kind of where you were maybe a year ago, where somebody who would be sitting there going, nah, I can't go to that mission. They got all those rules. There's probably somebody they probably just keep them all locked up inside there, and it's like a small mini prison and everything. Would you encourage him to stay at the mission?
Yes, I would.
What would you tell him?
Me, I would tell him my experience.
Yeah.
Me, I hesitated to walk through the door, young man.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, I was kind of optimistic about who was in there, where I'm going to sleep,
Sure.
where am I going to go, where's my dorm. Me, I'd be glad to walk them in and say, hey, talk to these people here. They'll help you. They'll give you the guidance. There's rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
But those are guidelines that you can use. They're tools that can be presented to you to give you that uplift,
Yeah.
and be able to look forward to a future.
Yeah.
They'll help you find a job. They give you housing. You get 3 meals a day, showers.
Yeah.
You get free time. You gotta do some rules and some cleaning and stuff. But that to me is an opportunity. Sure, you pay $100 on your food stamps. That $100, you're eating $2,000-$3,000 worth of food a month.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting 3 square meals a day. You get showers every day. You get a warm bed to sleep in. What else could you ask for?
No, I don't know, man. And that's a great sales pitch. I appreciate that. I think for that person, it is they're just wasting time, man. The faster they come in and get toward working on a life that's worth living, man, it's they're just killing time, and their feet are still getting jungle rot on them for staying out and all that good stuff. They could come in and be healing up and feeling whole again.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Man, isn't that true?
Because I'm 50 years old. I mean, I don't care if you're 19, 18, 17, 16. It don't matter.
Yeah.
It's all in your heart. If you want it, you'll go for it.
Yeah.
Me at 50, I took it.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah.
I made that choice.
Yeah.
So can you.
That's good, man.
It's all in you whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
I want it. I grabbed it. I got the opportunity, and I'm blessed for it.
Amen.
Look where I'm sitting now.
That's right. That's right. Well, man, I am so grateful for you being willing to share your story. I really, really appreciate that. You can, I know there's going to be people that will be praying for you, wanting to encourage you in your stay and continued success here. There's going to be a lot of people in the community that are just really rooting for James, that you're going to do well, and they're going to be excited to continue to see your story unfold during your time here. So, with that said, man, I just, again, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it.
It's been a real pleasure to give you a part of my life, I don't know if I could give it to anybody else, but you got to trust those who trust you.
Yeah.
And I trust the mission, and I trust the staff, and I love the people who I stay with.
We love you too, brother.
And I thank you, and I thank this whole family for accepting me.
You got it.
And bringing me in.
Well, thank you for accepting us, man. It's been a pleasure. All right, that's it. That's the podcast, and we'll just go from there.
Amen.
Perfect, brother. Thank you. So there you have it, a great interview with James Franklin. You know, if you enjoyed that interview, I pray that you would just think about sharing that with a friend, somebody that maybe needs a little encouragement themselves. And so please, you can share our podcasts through Facebook or social media of any kind. You can share them by just texting the link to somebody. Of course, they can always go to our website directly, which is grantspasmission.org. We thank you again for your support, and we just pray that you would continue to share these stories and get the word out there of all the good things God's doing in Grants Pass. Thank you again, and have a great day.